Okay.
Well, I think because we already took a break earlier, we can jump into Pac-12. Um, Little segment now. All right, so we're going to start off with the big victory for the University of Washington Huskies, coming out on top against Arkansas State, 52-3. Dylan Morris having a bounce back game after really bad start. I'm not even going to say rough. I think it was really bad. Coming out with 367 yards, 3 touchdowns. Big victory going into Pac-12 play. Thoughts on this? This is your team. This is his dogs.
This was a must win. After going 0-2, this was a must win for Husky and the Husky Nation. Uh, we've always been a proud school. We do not like to start out, 0-2. Unfortunately, what happened. But this was a great bounce back game. I hope that we can continue this and finish strong. Hopefully, they can carry this into next week against Cal. That's pretty much all I gotta say. Dylan Moore, really did step up this game. We were actually talking about before, is it time for the true freshman to come in? Possibly now.
He did get time.
I actually did see that he did come in for a little bit, so hopefully, this probably saves Dylan starting job for the rest of the season. See more going forward, though.
I don't think it saves him for the rest of the season. I just think it saves him for another week.
Okay.
Just because you look at the first 2 games, really piss poor performances. And a lot of people can say offensive coordinator and everything like that, which just wasn't even just a big win for the program itself, but it was mainly a big win for Coach Lakes and the offensive coordinator. They were very scrutinized for the first 2 performances and everything like that. Like I said, UW's defense handling the business like they always do. Offense found a good rhythm and everything like that, but can they do it against California next game? We're gonna skip the next 3 games because we talked about those in top 25. Want to say go Ducks. Kind of a game not expected, but ultimately it did happen. Yeah. Minnesota whooping on California, or not California, Colorado. Excuse me, California's in the brain. Whooping Colorado 30-0. It makes you go back and think about what we said about Colorado last week when their close loss to Texas A&M. Was it just a fluke game? Was Texas A&M just not into it? Kind of favors into that comment instead of more of Colorado being a better team. Minnesota is not a very strong, not a powerhouse like Texas A&M. They have shown a lot of light over the years, but going and handling the business in Boulder, coming out on top, 30-0. Obviously, you've seen the first quarter; it was 0-0, but Minnesota, the Golden Gophers, really turned it on.
Yeah, unfortunately, that Colorado, having the lowest points allowed in the Pac-12. We didn't think it was going to last, but hell, they held it for 2 weeks. That was good on them. Unfortunately, nothing this week that apparently the defense could stop. I don't see Colorado, doing much more the rest of the season here.
Yeah. Oregon State coming on top against Idaho, 42-0. Really big win for the Beavs. They played a kind of a weaker Idaho team. Who's very not very big football program. I would love to see what sport they're actually good at. Not to diss on the Idaho Vandals, but you never hear about them too much. You think of Idaho, you think of Boise State. Nothing much said there. Offensively, it was very well sounded for Oregon State. Handle their business and everything like that. Next game we're going to go into, we actually watched this game. It was USC.
It was good at first.
USC going into Pullman, coming on top 45-14. Like Shock Doc said, really great first half for the Cougs, came out on top, and then USC ultimately turned around. Jackson Dart coming in after the injury to the quarterback first in the first couple drives. Really handling his business, came out on top. I think he may have solidified his starting position. Or new coach Dante. A lot of praises for him. We have a USC fan in our apartment building. She was praising him, but well deserved in my opinion, because he was very hyped up. He was keeping his kids hyped up. Now, here are my thoughts on this game. USC fired up, ready to play. Wazoo, you made stupid calls. Absolutely stupid calls. There were a lot of times on goal line, take the points. Yeah, stop going for on fourth down. Play smart football. You need to against a team like USC. Ultimately, the third quarter what really killed the Cougs the most when they gave up 28 points there. But ultimately, I think this is a piss poor performance by Wazoo. All around, bad decision making. You had some light with Borghi, Max Borghi, the running back out of Wazoo, who was running very hard. But other than that, I didn't. And their defense was flying around, making a lot of plays, making a lot of stops, picks, and everything like that. But just really bad play calling, in my opinion, for Wazoo.
Agreed. Like I said, the game actually, like I said, started out. First half was actually pretty good, defensive game. But then the second half, USC just screw this, blew the doors wide open. This is our game.
Yeah. One thing I'll ask, and you can think about this as we get on. The big question about this is this a sign of USC regaining the top spot in the Pac-12 South? We'll talk about that afterwards. We're going to go to the next game where California, in a must-need win over Sacramento State, 42-30. Great win for the Golden Bears, handling the business. Sacramento State coming back in the second half a little bit, but California holding on for the 12-point victory. Much needed game going into next week, or this upcoming week, against UW. Not really much to say on this. Sacramento State is a FCS team who you would have thought was going to lose. So not much really more I could say on that, except for California needing that win.
I mean, closer game than probably what we thought it would be. But yeah, California, another 0-2 team, needing a win this week to pretty much, have some dignity right now this season.
Absolutely. Next game, and I think I called this one. San Diego State beating three overtime game. And I think I called this one. We got to look back and look at it, but I did say San Diego State was going to beat Utah.
I know. I think you did. I think you said they were going to sneak in and get this one.
I think I put this more on Utah not finishing it out. You know what I mean? And great win, 3 overtimes. Love these kind of games. And unfortunate for there had to have been a loser in these games. And unfortunately for Utah, it was them. San Diego State, way to hold on to the big victory. You're 3-0 right now. Watch them in the Mountain West. They may knock off a Boise State and maybe make it a top 10 or top 25.
All right, you got Stanford at Vanderbilt.
Stanford coming off the big win against USC. I think this is going to continue to roll for them. I honestly think in the Pac-12 North, this is the team to watch out for if you're Oregon. I think you're going to always look out for UW. You're always going to look out for Oregon State, because obviously that's your rivalry. But I really think Stanford's going to ride this momentum that they had against the USC win and make their way to compete with Oregon. I'm going to make a bold statement that I think the winner of Stanford is probably going to be the Pac-12 champion.
I've always said this. Stanford always has this thing where once they start to get into Pac-12 play, they are a better team. And I don't know what it is, what they do when they could play, a great team like Oregon or UW or even USC. They find a way to win.
They do.
And they'll either win close or they'll win big.
I think it just goes to show the great coaching team and everything like that, and the discipline of the kids and everything like that. So great win for Stanford. Next game. Oh, you know what?
I think this just shows how bad
this just shows that Arizona is going to be that team that may not win a game this year, losing to Northern Arizona. Hey, look at this, UW fans! You're not the only one who's an FCC team. So there you go. Northern Arizona, which actually is a really good ranked FCS team, beating Arizona 21-19 in Arizona. Technically, they're both in Arizona, but they were in Tucson for this one. Yeah, I think looking at this game, the one thing I'm going to say about this, Arizona, y'all might want to start ready for basketball season. I don't. You lost this game. You're 0-3. You have, UW was the worst team with offensively, but now Arizona just took that spot. So
I'm glad somebody else took it from us.
yes, Arizona. I mean, you needed this win. You need this win. I will be surprised if you win a Pac-12 game. I mean, you could beat a Colorado or something like that, but you're not going to win that much. So,
all right, want to look at Pac-12 games for next week? Make predictions.
Let's go look at the standings real quick and see where everyone's at right now. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of change, with only being 2 conference games played.
Did you want to do Pac-12 or did you want to do everybody?
No, just Pac-12.
Okay.
But you're good. You're good. As you can see right now, we do have Stanford staying on top with the.
Because they got the one conference.
They got the one conference win. Oregon State, California, Washington, and Wazoo now rounding out the Pac-12 North with their conference lost. I wouldn't be surprised if this is how you see the season end. I ultimately would think Oregon and Stanford are going to probably switch spots. That's my opinion. I wouldn't be surprised if this is what you see at the very end, though.
I definitely see Oregon and San Francisco. I'm actually hoping that UW and at least California switch spots. That's what I'm hoping toward here at the end of the year.
It could very well happen, too. Like I said, both teams needed this big win. Oregon State, I think, is the 3rd best team in this league. I wouldn't be surprised if Cal or UW take over the 3rd spot. I think 3, 4, and 5 are really close in their really close matchups. Ultimately, I do think after the Wazoo game, again, I don't have faith after poor play calling. Look at the Pac-12 South. I exactly think what this is going to be. USC on top. How Dante was running this team reminded me a lot of the Pete Carroll days, the excitement, the fire around, the pretty much dominant performance and everything like that. Defensively they were sounded, they were killing it out there. I see USC staying on top of the Pac-12 South. So that was my question to you: do you think this win, the fired up and the emotions that they showed against Wazoo, is that a sign that they are the team to beat in the South?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. As we've seen so far through the first 3 weeks, a team like UCLA that's ranked, dropped in a big game that they should have had. We kind of expected, Colorado, Utah, and Arizona not to be that good. It's just that USC just doesn't have really any contenders in that division right now. Sun Devils, you could probably make a run at it. I was gonna say Devils, but anyway, I don't see Sun Devils making a run for it. I think USC, hands down, has this division wrapped up.
So we both agree that going into Pac-12 play, that there seems to be one clear winner for the South, and ultimately in the North, we're looking at 2 contenders for the Pac-12 North title. Yeah, there's not really much more to say. I think we stepped on all the bases about the Pac-12. I think, again, it's going to come down between 3 teams. In my opinion, I think you can agree. It's going to come down between USC, Stanford, and Oregon to represent the Pac-12. I think the best chance for a college football playoff team, Oregon. After that, it's Rose Bowl, obviously. So,
yeah, notice how he said 3 teams. He said 3 teams, guys. Not 4 teams, not like the top 2 of each division. 3 teams, and I actually agree with that.
I like what you said, and I agree with you. In the Pac-12 South, I don't think there's a contender to stand with USC after the way that they played. We're going to see some bounce backs from these teams. I think mostly from the North, but again, no Ducks.
UW, like I said, keep trying to fight.
So we're going to look at upcoming games now for the Pac-12 going into this week. As you saw in the schedule that we saw here, we did see that almost all the Pac-12 teams are actually going to be playing against each other. We're going to start off with game 1, And we're gonna do our picks.
We're gonna do our picks, and we are actually going to remember our picks.
Yes, we're gonna remember our picks and everything like that, so we can keep track. All right. So the first game we have Utah versus Washington State. I'll let you go first on this one.
I'm actually gonna pick Wazoo over Utah.
I'm gonna go the same way, just because I do have a heart for the Cougs and everything like that. But I wouldn't be surprised if Utah wins off again, just this performance.
Yeah,
coaching.
I think it'll probably be a close game, low scoring, but yeah, Wazoo over Utah.
All right, next game we have number 24 UCLA going to Stanford. I think give me Stanford on this one. I think they're going to continue to show a lot of grit, and I think they're going to come out on top of this one. I think it's going to be possibly a 2-score game, but it's like a 10-point victory, I think, if anything, if I had to give points.
That's what I was thinking as well, about 10-point victory for Stanford. That's my pick as well. Stanford at home, and as I said earlier, when Stanford starts playing their Pac-12 division rivals, they become a different team. So, yeah, Stanford.
All right, next game. We're actually going to this game. Washington versus California. I'm going to let you go for first. I think I know what you're going to say.
I don't even need to say it, really. I mean, I'm hoping at home we follow up, so Huskies.
I am going to go for the Dogs as well because, A, I'm going to be there. B, I like their defense still. I like their defense. A gut feeling really wants to go with California. California coming to UW has been more in favor of California. But I think we're going to see something in UW, and they're going to come out on a close victory. Next game, do we need to even talk about it? Number 3, Oregon, playing Arizona. This is what we're going to say this right now, and I'm going to do my thing. Ball game.
Oh, yeah. Oregon, hands down, routing Arizona, big time, done. Move on to the next game.
Oregon State at USC. I think this is going to be actually a challenging game for both teams. But give me the Trojans to come out on top on this one. I like Oregon State, but I don't think they're ready to at that level. Although history has shown that Oregon State is kind of a kryptonite to USC. They have gone in and upset USC before, but I don't think this is the case. Give me the Trojans over the Bees.
Yeah, like you said, Oregon State, I like them, but they can be that, that team that comes into USC and upsets, but USC at the Coliseum, USC.
This next one, so we picked almost every home team except for the first game. You could say we're going more local than we are. We have Arizona State versus Colorado. Both teams coming off of pretty upsetting losses. Man, this is a tough one. This is a really big tough one. I'm going to be a little indifferent. I'm going to say Colorado bounces back. I think they're going to find their mojo going into Arizona State, and I think Arizona State showed a lot of mistakes against BYU, and I think that's still going to haunt them. Give me the Buffaloes of Colorado.
I'm actually going to go opposite of you. I think Colorado still hasn't figured out who they are yet this year. I think Arizona is actually going to fix their mistakes and bounce back from their loss. So, yes, I'm going with Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard with this one because it is a very close matchup if you really think about it, and it can go either way. If Arizona State wins, good on them. If Colorado wins, good on them. What is kind of what's the story that you see in these matchups here? This is the first of the Pac-12 play. What are some things you're looking at in between each game that you're most waiting to see? What are you excited for? Like which of these games are you probably most excited for?
I think I'm actually most excited for would be besides my own team, I'd probably have to say the UCLA Stanford game. I think that will actually be a good game. But as I said, Stanford will win. Also, first week of Pac-12 matchups. Besides Stanford's going to be their second one. I think we're going to see some, I think we're going to see what's going to define the rest of the season.
I agree, and I agree on both your statements. Obviously, UW in California is a game that I'm excited for, only because I'm going. My first college game in 14 years.
I want to say at least probably 20. Last time I was a young kid. Last time I ever went to a game, that was back in the old stadium.
Stanford and UCLA is the matchup of the week, in my opinion as well. My excitement is for Oregon, and not because I'm a Ducks fan, but I think they need to win big on this one to set the tone of the Pac-12.
I think, yeah. I mean, obviously they're going to need the win to help them stay in that third spot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see them probably moving up if Alabama and Georgia still win. I think they'll probably still stay right there.
But as you can see, though, this is the big worry for Oregon for me, is you've seen teams who have been undefeated who don't win the big games, don't win big on games they should win big. They do drop out of spots. So that's what I'm saying. Like, for me, Oregon has to set the tone really well for continued Pac-12 play. I think they need to come out and dominate the way they have been. Again, they are one of the most high-powered offenses in college football right now. Defense obviously stepped up big for them against Stony Brook. I can see them doing the same thing against Arizona. But Arizona, watch out. Again, in Pac-12, you can never know what happens.
I mean, Arizona, I feel sorry for you. You're having to play Oregon right now with how high-powered they are. But Oregon is going to come to pretty much dominate you. Because they are, like I said, they are number 3 right now. They're going to try to hold that, hard. So they are going to come out and play hard Oregon football as they always do. And I'm sorry, you guys are probably going to get a whooping. I feel sorry for Arizona.
Well, and the worst part for Arizona is that they're coming to Autzen Stadium. If this was in Arizona, you might have a little bit closer game, but this is in Autzen Stadium, which, I mean, that could be a question mark to you of all Pac-12 stadiums. Where do you think is the hardest place to play?
I was actually just thinking that too. Because we, like I said, obviously besides the first game, we picked all home. I picked all home games. Because I was also looking at, home field advantage as well. For me, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I was gonna say almost the same for me. I picked obviously Washington State and Colorado to win, not based on where the locations are. We can all agree on one thing, and I will agree to this. Best scenery for a stadium has to be Husky Stadium, right there next to Lake, one of the most beautiful stadiums actually made, recently redone. Very nice stadium. I've been on the field. I would love to go to Autzen and all that stuff, and there's more historic value with the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum and the Rose Bowl, obviously. But again, my question to you, Kel, is where's the toughest stadium in Pac-12 to play at?
Man, I would have to say I'm kind of torn between actually Oregon and USC. Oh man, I mean those are, you take USC back, in the days where they were just so dominant. They've always had loyal fans. Oregon is the same way. I mean, I'm torn between the two. I'm torn between those two, honestly.
Honestly, I'm the same way. You have a lot of more history of going into those stadiums losing and Oregon and USC winning than any other Pac-12 stadium, if you really think about it. Huskies for a while under Chris Peterson, they were a dominant home team. You couldn't go into Husky Stadium with and get a win, maybe once in a blue moon. But Husky Stadium as a whole have been kind of hit and miss. Martin Stadium of Washington State, very hit and miss. A lot of teams that came in up and beat Wazoo. Same with in Utah. You can make an argument for UCLA in the Rose Bowl. I think as a stadium itself, it's amazing based on Rose Bowl alone. But I agree with you. 2 hardest stadiums to go into and try to get a win: Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum and Autzen Stadium.
I mean, like I said, I can't really pick. I know it's one of these two. It's like.
Well, we gotta see. Well, we gotta see as the season goes on, because you gotta remember one thing: Stanford did beat USC in Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. So something to take away from that is that there are teams that do come in to both stadiums and come out with wins. Honestly, though, more times than not, USC loses at the Coliseum more
Like
than
I
Oregon.
said, as I said, I think this is going to be defining for the Pac-12 after this.
Absolutely. We're gonna go to the next segment where it is my Akame and a Hame and a Senonamame game of the week. And after much consideration, I had 3 games in mind. 3 games were Arizona State BYU. It was Florida and Alabama. I don't think you can really take away that matchup and not say it was a game of the week. But my pick of the week of the game of the week will be Penn State versus Auburn. Just watching that game. My God, what a back and forth. 2 teams fighting very hard, both representing their conferences, very strong conferences, very well, and showing a lot of fight to the very end, back and forth. There were some great plays made. Auburn fighting back after what looked like Penn State was going to run away at first with it. Auburn was coming back, ultimately losing by 8 points. Like I said, that's what you expect out of a top 25 matchup in college football. Arguments can be made about Alabama, Florida. Honestly, in my opinion, I don't think it was as great because ultimately Alabama did get the win and everything like that. Everything worked out in their favor. Florida did make a comeback and almost beat them, but unfortunately, with Alabama coming out with the win, it kind of, in my mind, it does take away the feel of the game of the week just because it's what you expected. You expected Alabama to win. So with Penn State and Auburn, you could have gone either way. Both teams needed this win going into conference play. Penn State, as you saw, it jumped them up to number 6, and this is a bit must win for them. So that was my Kame and a Hame. Second home to Mame.
Great choices, as always, Rhino. Great choices.
Yeah.
As you said, I think actually we said, I don't know if we actually said that on here yet, but we were talking about it as we were watching the highlights of the Alabama Florida game. This is definitely something other teams that are going to play Alabama here that should watch this game.
Absolutely. You can say what you want about the game and that it could have just been an off day for some of the Bama players and everything like that. But the fact is, you look at that game and Alabama was up before Florida was making a comeback.
Yeah, they were routing them.
So there was something that Florida did to turn it around, and I think other teams can look at this and ultimately take that advantage. Will it happen? Possibly. The team I think that could ultimately beat Alabama is Georgia, but I would like to see someone else make that jump. I think it's expected for Georgia to win, but not necessarily.
So you want to see somebody pull off an upset win over Alabama before the Georgia game?
I do because for football fans, it's needed. Because
it's like I would say, for example, like New England Patriots, but when they were dominating, it's like, okay, we need you to win at least, or at least lose like 2 or 3 games, but then you can go and win the Super Bowl. That's fine.
I mean, yeah, and ultimately it might not happen. Like we talked about before, Alabama's dynasty and everything going on. And then we go back and looking at the top 4 teams, and obviously my team is Oregon, and would love to see them to win. Here's the reason why I think they have a great chance. Their offense is very fast.
Yes, they still keep that fast tempo.
I think that's going to be a big factor. If they make the college football playoffs, that's going to play in a big factor.
Yeah, not a lot of defenses are used to that tempo when you're at, especially outside the Pac-12, because Pac-12 teams, they know to expect that.
Mm-hmm.
They condition for that. They prepare for it. Other teams, they don't play They don't play a team like Oregon much.
No, and ultimately too, like, think about it with Oregon, and like you said, they condition for it. A lot of times you can condition for a team like Oregon. A lot of times you might not get that conditioning done.
Oh,
Oregon loves the fast pace. They are one of the most dominant programs to run read option, speed option, RPO offenses to a point. And I think they're going to be a team to watch out for. That's why I'm saying in the Pac-12 play, this is a big win for them because they need to prove. It's also a primetime game on ESPN. They need to go out there and prove that they are a team to watch out for. And I really do think they are going to be a team that maybe makes some surprises. Do I think they're as deadly as the Chip Kelly era or the Marcus Mariota era? No. A lot of gifted players in those eras, but we could see something very similar to the Chip Kelly era in that, because CJ Verdell, and Dye, I think it's Travis Dye, but I'm not 100% sure. I know I'm a bad friend of Oregon, but I don't remember. But ultimately, you think about like the Michael James back in the day, like that's what the same thing was, that they were running the ball. They had multiple running backs, DeAnthony Thomas, all that. They were very fast paced, and they didn't have a quarterback as dominant as a Marcus Mariota, but Darren Thomas did this job. And that's the same way I view Anthony Brown in Oregon, is that he's doing what he needs to do to get them the wins. And I think that's ultimately the biggest sign. So we're going to go to a new segment now. It is the doctor is going to make his shock of the week pick.
Oh, yeah. I almost actually forgot about that. Actually, should I go back?
It's not about me, baby.
It's not about you, baby.
It's not about me, baby.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I said this earlier. It's actually right here. My shock of the week actually is Fresno State over UCLA. That was actually a game that I expected UCLA to actually just go in and win. That is my shock of the week. Fresno State beating UCLA. There were some other ones I did look at that were contenders, but obviously I think this one was actually a bigger influence for the week.
I agree with that. Honestly, I really do agree with that, because Fresno State had a very good game, first game against Oregon, only losing by 7 points. They're really taking it to now a top 4 ranked team in Oregon, but then coming into UCLA and coming out with the big victory. So great pick on that.
I mean, I probably could have said Penn State, but Penn State is rolling.
And that's my.
I mean, and that's he's Kamehameha. I thought about saying West Virginia and Virginia Tech, but I have a feeling that's the kind of matchup those two always have, back and forth. And
I like your pick. I like your pick because ultimately, if you really think about it, Fresno State's the team against a 13th ranked team that shouldn't have won.
Yeah, I mean, I want to pick a team. Obviously, the title of the segment says it's shocking. What teaming, just came in and was like, beat a team that had no business beating.
Could have said you done.
I could have. Anyway, moving on to hot topics. If we have one, I've been trying to think of one, but there's so many. I'm like going through my head right now. I can't pick.
Hello to you too.
Yeah, we love you too.
Normally in this segment, we usually have a topic that we want to talk about, mostly a historic topic of college football. It's been a really interesting week, and so we could have done this yesterday. Should have done it yesterday, kind of our traditional, or on Sunday. So yeah, my days are really bad. My days are really off. We normally should have done it yesterday. Ultimately, we did it today. So next week we'll give a hot topic. We can talk about anything. If you guys have a hot topic that you want us to talk about, we're looking for more of historic value, but we can talk about current teams and programs and everything like that.
I was thinking USC, but I want to save that because we have a friend that's a big USC friend that we might get to come down here. So I know we've talked about doing that one, but I want to see if they want to do it before we even talk about it.
Yeah. So again, you guys, if you guys have any topics that you want us to talk about, like I said, it could be anything about national championships. You can talk about any current team right now and where they're at and how we feel. I know obviously we've talked about all of the top 25 teams and the Pac-12 teams and everything like that. So if there's any topics you guys want us to address in the hot topic segment, please let us know in the comments in both the stream and on YouTube. Thank you guys for. I think we're gonna wrap it up then with no hot topic. So thank you guys for listening and for tuning in on this and for the views on YouTube. Definitely gonna come back with you more. We're gonna do a NFL one probably tomorrow. And Thank you guys again for listening. What a great week of college football. What a great year of college football that we're getting so far. Looking forward to week 4. And if you watch the Husky game, try to look out for the Ronald Bucket in the shot.
Watch for us in the stands.
Yep. Because I will be the one laughing if they lose.
Yeah, and I got to ride home with him.
Damn straight. And you know it's going to be. The California fight song might be played the whole way home.
Jeez. All right, guys. Thank you again all much for coming. I'm going to go ahead and kill the stream right here, and I'll probably come back and stream some more of some games. So anyway, thank you guys all very much. Appreciate it as always. Love you much. Have a good one, and we'll see you guys tomorrow on our NFL review. I think it's going to be a good one. I think it will be a good one.
I think so,
We got some good stuff to talk about, to take away from this week, so make sure you turn in and check that out. See you later.
We're going to end it on this one. As always, when you know the game is over. Ball game!